Guys. I just wanted to come out here. It's early. I had that MRI this morning and I came back home and I'm probably going to take a nap before I'm going to do a cooking video on my Facebook um, of this really delicious fried chicken sandwich today. If y'all want to come over there and check it out, it's The Secret Creations. I'll have to put a link. Or did I put a link? I think I may have already put a link in my description. If y'all go down there and check it out, I think you can find it. So, first of all, I was pretty confident that that MRI was for 7:30 this morning, but I got like an email or a message that said 7:15, and I was like, wow, it's at 7:15 instead of 7:30. So I got up 4:30 this morning, so I could be all showered and clean and ready, and got down there and she's like, your appointment is until 11. And I was like, oh no. It's like for months, for like 9 months, it's been 7:30 or whatever. So she's like, well, let me call back there and see if they'll take you. So they say they'll take me. So I really didn't have to wait that long in that first waiting area. And then Miss Friendly came to get me. I don't know. Like, I see these videos, especially during the pandemic, of all these really nice nurses. And I've seen some, like, on the internet where, the people are about to pass away or whatever, and the nurses are nice and they're singing to them and stuff. I don't know where those nurses are. I've never really had a friendly nurse experience that I can recall in my lifetime. It's like, and if you are a nice nurse, then this doesn't apply to you. I'm not talking to you, so I don't want you to be offended. If you're a nice nurse, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being nice. I just feel like there must be some qualification, and in order to be a nurse, you have to lose your sense of humor. You can't be nice to people, and I don't know. I mean, I was talking to my roommate about it this morning, and he thinks that it's different at that particular hospital because it's a community hospital, and it's where, if you don't have enough money, that's where you go. And if that's the reason that they treat people like that, that's even worse. I mean, I don't know. It's just like, you think that they could make the experience, which is already going to be horrendous, a little more doable. Like, I know if I was a nurse, I would be talking to people on the way there and telling them not to be nervous and it's okay. And how was your day? And what are you going to do when you leave? And like, trying to like, I don't know, make them feel better in some way, like, or make them laugh. I find that doctors and nurses are just so not nice, in my opinion. And whenever I go with a fresh mind, like, here, let's try again. Maybe it'll be better this time. Maybe I'll get a nice nurse this time or something. Doesn't happen. So, I had an MRI once before, like maybe when I was 18 or something like that. And I remember it. And I remember that bubble, that you were in like this bubble tunnel and it was, circular above your head. Like there was room up there, you know what I mean? And I remember that they put these big headphones on me and they talked to me through the whole thing and like, here's what we're going to do now, and you may hear some noises. Can you be still for, the next 3 minutes or so? And then they would say, okay, you can take a rest now, if you want to move. And then they would say, okay, now we're going to. That was not at all what happened this morning. Sorry, I'm still a little freaked out. I I've laid in tanning beds for 30 years. I don't recall ever having claustrophobia in my whole life. But when I went this morning, let me start with the fact that when she came to get me to bring me, to the next section, there was this guy that was in the waiting room, and he was behind us. I don't know, about 2 feet behind us, and he just kept walking with us as she was taking me. Now, I didn't know at first that we were going by, like, she was taking both of us back there as patients. I'm just thinking, why is this guy so close to us? Why is he following behind us? And she's asking me all these freaking personal questions, and this guy's there, and I keep turning around like, I don't understand. And finally, she says to the guy, "Did you hear all the instructions that I gave her?" And it's like, oh, okay. So now I get that he's a patient, but like, I've never been brought back somewhere with another patient before, so I didn't know we were doing the double patient thing, and he's a guy. Like, it was just weird. So, anyway, they bring me back, and I'd asked her on the way, or she had asked me on the way. She's like, "You're gonna have to remove everything and just, put the gown in front and the gown in back." And I said, "No." I called down here, and they said if I didn't wear any metal, I didn't have to take my clothes off. And she's like, "Well, that depends on the radiologist." And I'm like, "Well, they told me that I called, and they said don't wear any metal, and it'll be fine." And she's like, "Well, I'm just telling you, it depends on who does it." And I'm like, "Well, I'll just leave then, because that wasn't the agreement." So she's already got me now freaked out, because I'm like, am I going to have to leave and not get the MRI, or like, what's going to happen? So she brings me back. Hold on, there's this horrible cat noise. Hey, what's going on out there? What is happening? Baby boy? Hello? Okay. I don't know what's happening. I heard a noise like either he was going to get in a fight or he got hurt, one or the other, and I can't see anything. I don't know what happened, y'all. Okay, so she brings me back, and it's just this empty room with a chair, and she, with the curtains, like open, and obviously there's like 4 other sections like that. And she's like, "Have a seat." And then she's like, "Have you had surgeries before?" And I'm like, "Yeah, 3 of them." And she's like, "What kind of surgeries?" And I'm like female surgeries. And she goes, "Do you mean pelvic surgeries?" Like, if I tell you that I've had female surgeries, does that not mean to you that I've obviously had something done that you would do to an area that a male wouldn't have? I mean, it's like I don't know. She had a problem. So anyway, I'm like, "Yeah, pelvic, whatever." I mean, I don't know what you're supposed to call the kind of surgeries that I've had, but she's trying to determine if I have any metal in me, and I'm like, "No, there's no metal." So then I wore my N95 mask, because remember, I was in construction, and so I still have masks from back when I had to do, a lot of painting or whatever we had to do. So whenever the pandemic came, I was like, "Oh, thank God, I had N95s already." But I save them for when it's going to be like really serious, like if I'm going into a hospital, I want my N95 on. So I wore my N95. And certainly, as soon as I get back there and they're telling me to put all my stuff in a locker and all this, she's like, "You need to take that mask off, because the N95 has that metal up here." And I'm like, "Shit." And they're like, "We have a mask." Well, they gave me this chintzy little, it almost looked like a little piece of paper. It was so, you put it on, it had air all the way around. It didn't seal it. That it wasn't good for anything, And they got me up in a hospital with this crappy mask. I mean, I'm already like germy anyway. I don't like, I don't eat in public, like in fast food places, okay? I may eat in a nice restaurant occasionally. I don't even know, once every 2 years or something, but I don't like, going inside of a McDonald's and eating, or like, there's no way I'm going to eat in one of those places. And I'm really careful about not touching any doors. And, you know, I just, that I use my elbow for the elevator or whatever. Like, I'm just careful about all that. And I want to make sure everything where I'm going to sit and where I'm going to be is clean, especially in a hospital. And I just, ugh. So I'm nervous now because I have this mask on that I don't feel like is protecting me. And then I watched her ask everyone if they needed to use the restroom before they went. Now, I was the first one in in that room that we went into, and then the guy was right behind me, and he went into a room, and then there was another lady that came in and went into a room. Everybody went before me, and it was because in their eyes, my appointment wasn't until 11, so they were like, everybody that's got an appointment's going to be before you. And it's like, yeah, but why do you think I would get up before o'clock? Why in the world would I get up so early and have on my calendar all this time to, well, whatever. So anyway, so it's taken forever and I can't sit. It's like a hard chair. I can't sit in that chair. So I'm pacing around this room, pacing, 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 pacing. I don't know how long this is going to take. And then they make me put a gown over my clothes. So I put the gown over my clothes. Finally, the lady comes to get me. She takes me back there and I see the machine, which looks to be huge, but I wasn't looking at the part that you actually go in. I was just looking at the actual outside of the machine. So then she lays me down, tells me, it's probably going to be 20, 25 minutes and it'll be over. And I'm like, okay. So I lay down. Now, she gives me these earplugs to put in. And I'm like, she's like, it's very loud. You're going to need to wear these. So I put the earplugs in and I've got the mask on and I'm gowned up and the board that I'm laying on is really warm. And she puts me in this thing and it's not round, it's squared and it's like right there. Like when I'm laying down, like I could go like that and touch the top, like it is right there. And I'm like, oh my God, like I start freaking out. And I don't even think she'd left the room yet. And she gave me this thing to squeeze if I needed to, if I needed to get out. And I don't even know how long I was in there. I'm going to go with 30 seconds. And I freaked out. And I never freaked out before. I don't remember freaking out in the other MRI machine. Like I said, I laid in tanning beds for 30 years. I didn't understand why I was freaking out, but it was so damn close that I felt like even if I want to like get out of here, like I can't push myself out. I can't get out of here. Like it was like a little freaky. And I'm like, I think it's just because, I just need to take the earplugs out and I'm like, I can't breathe, and she's like, well, you could take your mask off. So I just lowered it so my nose was exposed and she's like, you can't take the earplugs out. You have to keep them in. I'm like, I have to have these in. She's like, yeah, because it could hurt your ears. So I'm like, oh my God, okay, 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 okay. And she's not saying anything. Like I'm apparently, obviously having some kind of anxiety attack, and there's like nothing in her that's gonna try to make me feel better or laugh or get over it or, just, are you ready to go back in yet? And while I'm in there, oh, we flipped me around because I said, they told me when I came down here that since it was my lower back, they were just going to put me in feet first. And I'm assuming that my head, was going to be out. And she's like, oh no, your whole body has to go in. And she's like, do you want to flip around and go in feet first? And I'm like, well, I think that would be better. And she's like, well, just know that it's still going to all be over you. Like she's not doing anything to, try to reassure me at this point. And, so I'm like, okay, I can do this. Other people can do this. I can do this. And so I prayed while I was in there, and I kept saying, "It's gonna be okay, you're gonna be out of here. It's only 15 minutes. Like, quit freaking out. It's fine. It's fine. Just don't open your eyes, and you won't see how close the thing is." And I'm like, just keep taking deep breaths. And uh, I got to the point where I was like, "Oh my God, I can't take it anymore. I'm like just gonna have to just forego this MRI, and maybe they won't be able to help with my back. I don't know what's gonna happen, but like I can't stay in here anymore." And so I squeezed the thing, and the table moved, and she let me out, and I was waiting for her to say, like, "We have this many minutes left, like, um, are you ready to go back in or something?" And she was just like, "Okay, you can go ahead and take your key and blah blah blah," and because they give you a key to your locker. And I was like, "I'm done," and she's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "I thought you were just taking me out because I squeezed the thing," and she's like, "No, you're done." So she walks me down the long corridor, and then she brings me back to that room where Miss Friendly is, and uh, Miss Friendly takes me for my 73-mile walk back to where I need to go without saying one word. Never just like even bye, have a nice day or anything, just nothing. And I thought, if I had that job, is there any way that I could walk that long without being like, "So what are you going to do with the rest of the day? Aren't you glad this is over?" Or something like, just nothing, nothing, nothing. Like, they're just so unfriendly. And so then I'm talking to my roommate who had an MRI just a year ago, and I'm asking him, and he's like, "Yeah, they were talking to me through the thing, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Well, that's not what happened to me today." No talking, no like, "Oh, it'll just be 5 more minutes," or "Are you okay?" or nothing. Just, I made it through and I'm back. But, I feel like I've been through something really traumatic. I'm gonna have to do some research now and find out why all of a sudden I'm claustrophobic and what happened, and try and calm myself down and go to sleep and wake up a different in a different spirit, in a different place, because I hate going to hospitals so much, y'all. I can't tell you. I hate them so badly. I mean, I'd rather go through just about anything than go to a hospital. If my back wasn't screwed up, I swear, you would never catch me in one. um, Y'all, if you want to see my artwork, it's on Instagram at RhondaMills67, and I'm gonna be doing that cooking video today, and I will be in a lot better mood, I promise. And hopefully you will like and subscribe, because I would really appreciate it. Y'all have a good Sunday.